believe he said, "Hey, everybody! Welcome to Bounty Hunt, a Youtini Network podcast where we hunt down all the extra content in the Star Wars universe. I'm back. I have taken over once again. I am your host, Eric Eilerson. Take that. I have taken away my rightful position from Charles, who's not here, but joining me on this week's hunt are two of my greatest friends. We have Dr. Corey Helton, straight from Night Shift. How
Hello.
you doing?
Wow, I'm very blue in this shot suddenly.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I'm tired, if I'm being honest. I'm real tired, but I have coffee, so we're good. We're good.
That's good. That's good. I do not have coffee. I have a Rockstar energy drink, but what's really giving me energy today is the glorious face of Wes Jenkins.
Hello, everyone. I am also tired, but for selfish reasons. I had a me weekend, and I went fishing yesterday, and I came back yesterday afternoon because I had a softball tournament this morning. Thus, why my face is red.
Nice.
Excellent.
Wes, could you call that maybe a meekend?
Oh, I like that. A
Yeah,
meekend.
a
All
meekend.
right.
Did you just make that up?
Okay.
I've literally never
I
heard
did.
that.
I just came up with that. Well, I'm glad you guys are here. And folks that are watching us live, hello. Folks that are watching us later or listening, hi. Hope your week is going great. Hope your weekend was great because it's almost over. Let's be honest. But if this is your first time in Bounty Hunts, we hope you are enjoying it so far. And if not, have a good time. Watch the rest of our channel. But we are going to look this week at The Bad Batch, Season 1, Episode 7, Battle Scars. Full spoiler warning right here. We're going to talk about the show in its entirety, what happened in the episode, what we thought about it, maybe have some theories near the end. It'll be a great time. It'll be relaxed. Before we start, though, I do want to say in all sincerity that, guys, last week was the first Bounty Hunt or Living Force episode I have ever missed in Utini's
Wow.
history. And I thought you guys did great. It was a really fun show.
Aw, thanks, Dad.
Thanks, man.
We tried hard.
You're welcome. I did have to punish Charles for thinking he could do what I do by kicking him off the show this week. But beyond that, no, it was a really fun show. I'm glad to be back. It was very weird not being on the show, like watching it go live, being like, ah, it was odd. I wasn't a
I'm
fan.
so much better than this.
I was like, wow, I can just take time off. These guys know what they're doing. What am I thinking?
There you go.
But anyway, praises aside, we hope everyone's doing well. Let's jump into what happened on this week's episode of The Bad Batch. We began by seeing our intrepid heroes finishing up a snatch and grab job for Sid. We learned that they've been doing a couple jobs for Sid the Trandoshan, and they are in a lot of debt. They need one big score, basically, to try to even anything out with her. Wrecker and Omega then share their post-mission ritual by having some space popcorn, while the rest of the crew runs into Rex! Captain Rex, who is the informant from last week. That's right, they didn't make us wait for that. He is who the Martez sisters were talking to. Oh my God, Rex is in this episode. Loved it. However, Rex immediately finds out that they still have their inhibitor chips, and because of what happened in the Clone Wars Season 7, he's a little worried about that and thinks he meant it to protect Omega. But after a tense standoff, he says, all right, we got to get those out of your head immediately. So they head to Bracca, the planet of Jedi Fallen Order fame. While on the planet, the crew journeys through a Venator-class starship and encounter numerous obstacles, from a beast in the water that tries to grab Wreckers or going across a rope, until they finally get to the medical bay. And then the biggest obstacle appears, which is Wrecker himself. As we've been wondering for the past few episodes, it did finally happen. Wrecker turned. Wrecker snapped. Good soldiers follow orders, and Wrecker opened fired on Omega and Rex and the entirety of the Bad Batch. What followed was a very tense battle throughout the ship, including Wrecker acting kind of like a Friday the 13th villain, chasing down Omega as she tried to hide from him. Eventually, however, Rex, hero that he is, did stun Wrecker, and him, as well as the rest of the Bad Batch, all got their chips removed, including a very sweet moment where, despite her fear of him initially, Omega would not leave Wrecker's side until the chip was gone. After Wrecker was better, he gave a heartfelt apology to Omega, and the two got their reconciliation and, of course, their post-mission snack. Afterwards, Rex leaves the ship and returns to his group, who's trying to help kind of figure out their way in the Empire. Hunter goes out, says a goodbye, but at the last second, the Scrapper Guild calls in the Bad Batch's movements to the Empire. All right, boys, before we do any in-depth conversation, let's go around 1 to 10. How would we rate this episode? Corey, let's start with you.
I'm gonna give this one a perfect 10, man. This is my favorite episode so far, like by far.
Nice.
Like I loved it. I watched it twice, and I love every moment of both episodes. Both times I watched it, it was phenomenal. Loved it.
Fantastic. All right, Wes, what do you got?
I am going to give this episode a 7.8.
Oh! Oh!
7.8.
Whoa, it got cold in this chat. Oh my goodness.
Damn. All right.
All
I
right,
hope you better have some damn good arguments for that. Let's go.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna give this episode a 9.5. I loved this episode. It's my favorite since the pilot. I might love it better than the pilot. I'm not sure. Like the pilot was tough because it's like any first episode of something. It's like the first book of a series. Like it does so much work, and then you're like, "Ooh, okay, I'm in." But I love this episode absolutely. I'm super psyched to talk about it.
Yeah.
I want to point out Cheryl in the chat made a great point that I should have said in the intro. Rex absolutely made his appearance in this show like Strider in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
This was absolutely
I
into
know.
the prancing pony, sitting in the back.
The only thing he was missing was like his cigarette, like to light up his
Yeah.
face so as he smoked it or whatever.
Rex doing death sticks. That I would love that. I do love though how he has this giant cloak and then he has the very clear 501st armor.
Oh yeah.
I know.
Like, no one knows
I know.
who I
The big
am.
reveal.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what was he gonna do? Was he gonna kill those guys because they wanted his seat? Like, what the hell, man? Like,
All right, let's go into him first of all. Obviously, so Rex is back in this episode again. Why I'm wearing my her universe Rex shirt. Love it very much. Very comfy. And it was cool because we knew he was coming from the trailer. We saw
Right.
that he appears in at least in an episode. And I know last week you guys talked about all the possibilities that the Martez sisters could be talking to, and I know Rex did come up a little bit. So, what do you guys think overall of Rex's implementation in this episode? Wes, I'm going to start with you because Corey, obviously, you gave it a 10. We'll go there, but Rex, Wes, you don't get that name yet. You're
Rex.
not worthy of that, Mr. 7.
I'll go by Rex.
What do you think about Rex specifically?
So after we spoke about it yesterday with the R2 unit, Charles spoke about, kind of gave it away that it's probably going to be Rex. So I kind of knew that it was going to be Rex. Obviously, the reveal with his arm coming out of the cloak and you could see his armor. So kind of knew that, but then he didn't really go into what he's been doing. Right? Remember when Echo asked him, "What have you been doing?" And he's like, "I've just kind of been laying low." Is that another side story? Is that a comic? Is that some kind of like social media post, something that's on StarWars.com? We'll never know.
his actual answer was, "It's a long story."
Yes. Yeah. So crazy. But I mean, I think he was a good addition. We were obviously going to see him because we got the sneak peeks from the sneak peeks that Disney Plus gave us. But I don't know. I don't think he actually did a lot in this episode. He just showed up and he was like, "Take that shit out of your head and let's keep moving on." You know?
All right. Yeah, I think that was the first draft of the line. They said, "All right, D, you can't say that, man. This is Star Wars. You can't say get that shit out of your head. So let's take it again." Corey, what do you think about our boy Rex showing back up?
I was, I'll take the other end of the argument from Wes here, and like I think his purpose as a plot device, to see in his eyes like just how terrified he was of the prospect of Bad Batch like not having dealt with their inhibitor chips yet. I mean, he was ready to stand off with them immediately as soon as he found out.
Like hand to the blaster.
Yeah,
straight up.
hand to the blaster, and they're like, "Whoa, hold on, bro!" And I think that's what made them take it so seriously, right? So like, and he's seen some shit. He almost killed Ahsoka, right? So I mean,
Yeah, right.
And
Yeah.
I thought this was a really good reflection of his character, to see him sort of flashing back to the most traumatic, awful moment of his life, right, where he couldn't control it, right? You could see that like in his character now, which I really liked getting to see that. And no, he didn't really do much. I wonder what. I don't really know why he's here. Why did he come to Bad Batch? Like, maybe
I'll take that over. If I have a theory of mine, at least I think, because I agree. I think he did a good job with it, and I think his purpose is kind of what you said, is to really kind of give the importance of getting those chips out. Because even though the Bad Batch saw in the first episode, like, oh, okay, this is bad, right? They saw the guys attacking Jedi and such. They seem to have kind of put it on the back burner, and to have Rex, who they all know, who they did the mission with in season 7, like they know Rex is a hard ass. Like Rex, he does not mess around. And like you said, the terror that really kind of went over his face when he realized, uh-oh, not good.
Yeah.
Really kind of made it important. And the fact that he knew to go to Braca to get them out was also key. And I think that we've been talking in the past episodes of Bounty Hunt about how long would this particular story arc go on, right? How long would the headaches last? And I think this was a great length. It's almost halfway through the season.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they didn't just figure it out one day randomly. I think bringing in Rex as a trusted confidant who, again, fits in with the Martez sisters, because Ahsoka vouches for them, the Y-Wing, with like, it all works at least canonically. And will we know what Rex is doing with the Martez sisters and his kind of underground rebellion, how he gets to Wolf and Gregor? Maybe. Not in this show. We don't need it in this show.
So let's kind of talk about that, though. How did did the Martez sisters know to contact Rex? Through Ahsoka?
I don't know.
Gotta
I mean, you know, I still think it's a giant assumption that we're saying that they are speaking to Rex at the end of the episode.
Correct. Yeah,
right? I mean,
right.
we still have no confirmation. The only thing we get is like this weird robe kind of thing, which maybe that's the hood thing that Rex was wearing in the beginning of the episode, perhaps.
He said, didn't he say the Martez sisters in this episode? He name dropped
them. No, he name dropped them. He says they told him, but that still doesn't necessarily guarantee that person they were talking to was Rex.
It could have been somebody
else. It's somebody else in the party, right? Like maybe it's Bail Organa, maybe it's
maybe
Ahsoka.
They all have the same cloaks.
Yeah, maybe they all have cloaks. I don't know.
They all shop at JCP.
They're working the same way.
And Rex does say that he's with somebody else too, right? I mean, he says that there are other people gearing up to fight, right? So who else would that be? It has to be Ahsoka. It has to be Bail Organa,
well, and
I think.
That's what I'm wondering. I think Bail for like the head of everything makes sense. Like I don't think Rex is like he's not a fulcrum agent or anything like that yet, but I think the early times of that, I think he's the liaison between other people like that. So talking to so Cheryl, sorry, in the chat, Cheryl's like, he was wearing the same outfit, it was Rex, and Obi-Wan says they all share that one cloak, and I love that idea. They have one cloak. Right, whoever's on the comm,
Sisterhood of the Traveling Cloak. I know, yeah.
But I like the idea that Rex is kind of just trying to gather up anyone, like all these people at the beginning of this Revenge of the Sith, post-Revenge of the Sith era are just trying to find anyone, right? Like, I mean, Bail is trying to reach out to anyone. Ahsoka's in hiding, we know, because of the novel. And I liked this little bit of Rex being like, okay, I will reveal myself for a bit because I trust the Bad Batch. I need to make sure they're okay. And then he leaves. And I like that idea that he didn't force them to come and that we didn't have to go through that whole thing. The one and done aspect, I think, was nice for him in this particular format, you know? Yeah. And then I want to ask you guys then about Rex's, and I guess all their reactions to Wrecker's snap, because obviously we've been getting a good old Uncle Wrecker. And I love that. I love cute Uncle Wrecker in this whole show. He's been so sweet. He's been a great team player. And then now we get the complete switch of this is the Wrecking Ball. No comedy, no nothing. It basically turns into a horror show for a bit.
Right.
Yeah.
How did that hit you guys just emotionally?
I definitely think the moment where it like zooms in on his eyes and the sound effect of when you see him turn and everything is one of like the coolest, I think, moments of the show so far. Like, I mean, that was awesome. I really love that. I love that trick where you silence everything else, or it's like the record stops, like, right? So, like, I thought that was sick. I loved that. That was one of the coolest moments of the show.
It reminds me of the Resident Evil music that hits whenever he grabbed Goggles' throat.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But, I never noticed as throughout the episodes how like intricate all the scars were on Wrecker's face.
Yeah,
like I understand. I remember seeing the one on his ear, but the one across his nose, and then when he was like leaning, grabbing his head, you could see the veins in the side of his head. Like there was a lot of intricate work that went into creating his character and the other characters as well. But no other episode I saw, but this one was like all that intricate detail on how like what Wrecker actually looked like. But that whole snap part was great. I mean, it had the whole whoop-de-doo when he was like looking for Omega, and he pulled the piece of metal away, and she wasn't there after her looking at it with the camera. Kind of gave everybody a swerve there. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was that whole part was great. Good climactic end to that whole headache arc that they were doing, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I think the best idea of it, which again I think Justin just said in the chat, seeing it through Omega's eyes was brilliant. I think that seeing this, they've had such a sweet bond, and it's, you know, everyone's like, oh, is it just Mandalorian Grogu? Is it the same thing? I was like, no, man, it is not.
No, it's different. And
she
almost shot him, dude. Like her finger in the trigger, that was like, I'm like, oh my god. I really thought she was gonna kill him for a second. I thought that was gonna be the crazy twist of this episode, is she like shoots him, maybe even it's a non-fatal injury, but like I was like, shit, that was heavy. It really was.
Yeah. And I think
he was
like,
scary too.
Like the fact that we can even think that in a Star Wars show means like, because we know, like, no, the good guys don't shoot the good guy. Like for the most part, I mean, Revenge of the Sith aside, there's usually we can assume that they're all going to make it out, but I did think, I agree for a second that, oh my God, do we lose Wrecker?
Yeah, I really thought that might be the case.
Like, where do you go from here?
I know we still have no idea what the show is going to conclude with. If they're going to be, I mean, are they all going to die in some epic battle? Like, is it gonna? I don't know. We've already lost. One guy. So who are we going to lose more? Right? Are we going to lose everybody else? I don't know. So,
yeah, and I think this was a great episode. Maybe not like a mid-series finale, but like how like a lot of TV shows will do the first half and they'll take a break for a couple weeks and they'll come back. Like this very much had that vibe.
Yeah.
Like, great. This is the first giant phase of Bad Batch, was getting the inhibitor chips out. Now they're officially free of that. And now I think the second half will probably bring back a lot of the Crosshair stuff. And I think that's where we're going to go, because now we don't have to worry about Wrecker anymore.
Right.
But I really liked, before we get off Wrecker, I really did love how Omega wasn't able to talk him down. Because, like, I think that, for lack of a better phrase, the power of friendship has a lot of power in Star Wars, like, it's me, this isn't you.
I know.
Like 90% of the time.
Exactly. I know.
You're right, kid. You're right. You're like, damn it.
I know.
Again.
Yeah.
I know. And that would have completely invalidated Order 66, I feel like, if they had gone down that route. So to see, if Rex couldn't stand up against Ahsoka, like, there's no way Wrecker's gonna be able to. So
that's like the ultimate, right? Rex standing up against Ahsoka. Nobody can break that.
Which is beautiful,
and I think
to
come back from.
And it retroactively makes that moment even better. Like the fact that Rex could hold it for even 10 seconds,
right,
shows just how strong that bond was. When Wrecker and Omega, who I would argue have a very, very strong bond,
right?
He was like, no, not even a flinch.
Nope.
Like, nah, you're gonna die unless I get
free and traitor, man. It's like, okay, he's gonna kill this little girl. All right.
Remember the Cheeto puffs that we were eating together? We do it all the time. Cheeto puffs. She's like, just chokes the life out of her.
I know.
Yeah. No, that was sick.
I really enjoyed their sort of the way it really hung up on their relationship a lot this episode too. I mean, this was the episode about. And we get a lot of stuff to happen in this. I mean, we got Rex, we get the turn finally, and then we also have a lot of development, I think, about Omega in this episode as well, right? Because, we see just what a bond that her and Wrecker have developed. And, when she was like, no, I'm not going to leave him, she like pulls that chair out. I mean, that was freaking adorable. Like, I loved it. And,
no pun intended, Corey, on the Omega / pull the chair out by your chair right next to you.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
My
wife's secret live Omega chair. I know,
yeah. But it very much, I bet, as a doctor too. I mean, that's like the person at the hospital. It's like, no, I gotta wait for my uncle to wake up.
I know. It's heavy, man. And seeing her react like that was really heartbreaking. And like, if we do lose any of the Bad Batch through this show, I mean, that's going to be really hard to see that through Omega's eyes, because I think we can assume if anything happens to Bad Batch, nothing's going to happen to Omega. They can't kill a child in a Star Wars TV show. They're not going to. There's no way that's going to happen.
I think she's going to join. My go-to answer for everything is like, Fulcrum. Everyone's going to join Fulcrum. It's going to be Bail Organa, Sabe, Cassian Andor, Rex. Everyone's
man, that'd be a great faction.
Yeah,
that's a whole other book, man.
I know.
But I agree, because I think that Omega had a really great moment in this episode too, where she's like, before the surgeries, she's like, well, if you all die, I'm here and no one knows. Like, if anything happens to them on any planet, she is just stuck there anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, which is hard for a kid that never left Camino,
Also, this is kind of related, but just in case there were any doubts, you can't just have brain surgery like is depicted in the show, guys. Just for the record.
Space magic brain surgery.
There's no anesthesia. There's like no recovery period. He just like wakes up and he's fine, or having a chunk of his brain cut out. I'm like,
all right, now we're talking about
also,
that.
It was like, this is a ship that has been derelict for God knows how long.
Thank you.
Is it not sterilized?
I know.
Like, and the power's still available. You can go to any one of those ships and then stick your arm in there and get it to work. Like, come on.
The rule of Star Wars is righty tighty, lefty loosey, power on. Like,
that's exactly it. That's exactly it. And like, now is like not the time to raise a stink about the medical ridiculousness of the inhibitor chips and them being taken out. Like, this is like medicine in Star Wars, particularly in the Clone Wars, is pretty friggin' far fetched. All right,
so back to is like rub this like lotion on anywhere on your body and you're good.
Right. Go back and listen to our episode about medicine on the Living Forest where we talk about all that stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, removing the inhibitor chips particularly is kind of ridiculous. The speed at which they do it is, even since the Clone Wars, has been pretty dumb in my opinion. So, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Blind Fates put it, I think, very medically. He just had a chip removed from between the brain squigglies.
Yeah.
No big deal. You just root around in the squigglies.
Yeah. I don't really know why they chose to go the surgical route. Like, you have to like cut it out. Like, why couldn't they be? You just have to hit it with like the right frequency or some shit. Like, I don't.
Oh, like are they mean like physically? Like just smack him in the head hard enough, and then the chip will break.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, couldn't they like buzz it out like from the outside or some crap? But no, they literally cut a hole. They all have their little stupid Band-Aid on their forehead. Where they like, come on.
What if they like extracted it like they did in the Matrix whenever Keanu had his bug sucked out of his belly button where you could see it?
God, I hate that part. I hate it.
Oh man, maybe more believable than the brain surgery, to be honest. But, it's still. Although, I mean, I can kind of get behind the whole power thing, but like, I don't know. It's a pretty small plot hole, Wes, to give this an episode of 2.5 points off of like overall score. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
I just didn't see it going anywhere outside of, all right, we got the inhibitor chips done. Now what? What did they learn? They're just, and then the very end, the Scrapper Guild is like, hey, I saw him, notify the Empire. It's the same. I think it's just the same thing we've seen in the past weeks or the past weeks.
See
so
that?
What's like the overall goal here? What is the big bad that we're gonna see? I want to see that. I mean, we keep building up to that. I see it. But
well, I think they did a good job with leaving that in at the beginning of the episode, because Sid is like, we're now in debt to Sid for forever, essentially, if we keep doing these jobs. So she's like, all right, we need one big score to be even. So they kind of laid that in. I think that's probably going to be the next episode or two. And also, now that we don't have the inhibitor chips anymore, it's like, all right, that we can now forget about that and go straight on. I want to ask one more thing about the chips. Sorry, Corey, to cut you off, because Obi-Wan put this in the chat earlier and I missed it. He said, with the chips, Wrecker says he was fighting it at the end, but he couldn't. So does that mean that every single clone is sort of trapped within their own mind, trying to fight out of the chip and can't?
I don't know, man. That's pretty heavy.
Because that's horrifying. That's like Get Out for millions of clones.
I know.
Some are stronger than others, and some automatically switch over, and some are just like what is this? What is this?
I know, right?
Yeah, that is interesting.
Scary.
It's pretty scary.
So, Corey, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say this episode feels a bit like a turning point with the idea of like what the rest of the show is gonna be, because I really liked that Rex asked Hunter the question in this of like, what are you gonna do now? And he's like, honestly, I don't know, man. I'm just trying to figure it out for what's best for my squad. And like, that was somewhat refreshing to hear, because it makes it seem like, they're just kind of taking it one day at a time. Like, and there is a lot of unknown, and this is a Star Wars story that's like, not just here is the big bad, this is the plot of the show. It's incredibly predictable. I mean, I think I really enjoy the fact that we're watching an animated cartoon and it's not super predictable. So like, I mean, this sort of unknown of what the heck Bad Batch is going to do is cool. And I like seeing that that's also their perspective, is like, they don't really know. And it seems like they've really come around the idea of like, their mission is highly related to taking care of Omega specifically for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So, we keep getting that we're a family vibe sort of rejuvenated, like almost every episode, it seems like. And, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying this sort of unknownness of the show.
Well, and I'm especially interested now because I believe, I'm going to pull this up silent in another browser. I think now that we've had Rex through, we're through everything we've seen in the trailers. Because we saw those Ygerian slavers, we saw the bow, we saw Omega, and then we saw Rex coming up over the Braca kind of hill there.
Braca. Let's talk about Braca for a second.
Yeah. So yeah, because we saw in the chat. Obi-Wan says I wanted to see Cal Kestis pop up in the background.
Man, that would have been cool.
But yeah, Braca, again,
a complete
all these planets,
planet. A complete scrap planet. I thought it was just one portion of the planet, but
same.
It's just a garbage heap.
Yeah, big fan of seeing that planet come into play.
Yeah.
I think Braca is an awesome planet. I would love to go back to that planet in the game.
We were all pretty big fans of Fallen Order as well. If anyone hasn't it's been a while now, but we've all historically really had a great time on that, except for Zepho can die. Zepho can get
I'm gonna play it again. I installed it on my laptop again yesterday, and I think I'm gonna try playing it again on some of this night shift if I have some more downtime.
That's a great night shift game.
Yeah, it really is. And one of my buddies just got it for the first time and just started playing. He's been texting me about it, so it's kind of got me fired up about it. Because I did blow through that entire game in a weekend, if you remember correctly.
I remember that.
I remember you telling us.
Yeah, I know. I 100% completed it in 3 days. So
100% completion.
I know.
Well, and the next gen update just came out for anyone that has the next gen console for PS. Now, the graphics, because that was the biggest complaint on consoles, is some of the graphics weren't as great. But now they've really used all the new hardware, so that could be really dope now.
And I'll be playing it on PC, and I played it on the original Xbox One previously, so it'll be a different game. I feel like a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to play that again. Braca was such an awesome creation by that game, and really cool to see it brought into other stuff. And we keep getting excellent world building in this show. Just keeps getting better and better. I actually paused it when I watched it with Caitlin to point out the color patterns on the rusted ship. It's just dude,
so cool.
somebody spent so much time just getting the rust right on the Jedi cruiser. It looked really
patina,
good,
if you will.
Yeah, and it looks it was really good. And also I can't believe we forgot to talk about this. We got a what was the creature? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was that not a Rathgar? I'm pretty damn sure it was.
Rathtar. Yes, thank you.
Rathtar.
That was killing me. I'm it's not a Dianoga.
Was it?
Yeah.
It's not.
I think it was. It had the teeth thing and the tentacles, and tell me you're not hauling Rathdars, right, or whatever, from Force Awakens. He's we're hauling Rathdars. Yeah, pretty sure that's what it was. It was just totally blown over, only there for 2 seconds. So
why did I think it was a Sarlacc? Sarlaccs don't have.
I did
they
too.
just have mouths. They don't have tentacles.
Yeah, man.
Wait,
dude.
hold on. It was a Dianoga.
No way. The sub said Dianoga. That can't be right.
I thought.
Wow. Okay.
We gotta check this out.
I'll have to check that out. Maybe so, dude. It definitely looked like a Rathdar. I thought it was.
It definitely looked good. I thought it was hauling Rathdars. But yeah, no, that was a really cool, sick.
Now
moment.
I don't know what Dianogas look like.
I know. Not questioning because I'm looking at the.
All right, it's time for us all to look it up.
All right, Dianoga. Let's just pull it up. We're watching a live stream here. I'll just do a screen share.
Yeah, there you go. Look at Battle
it looks
Scars.
like it.
Images.
Dianoga was that in episode?
Yeah, they want to see OBS.
4.
I'm showing you the wrong. This always happens. I'm showing you the wrong.
Yeah,
the wrong
Bad Batch
screen.
Declassified is usually where they
go.
have those on there. Yeah, I
All
guess
right.
it is.
I guess it kind of is a
Dianoga.
Dianoga. Well, here's
Okay.
All right. The only interesting Dianoga is this thingy.
All right. It was a Dianoga.
It's a Dianoga. All right. That's lame. Moving
on.
Much less interesting than I thought it was, but yeah, the artwork continues to be incredible.
Yeah, just gorgeous, and it's just, the amount of planets we're going to is still just. I don't know how it's financially feasible. I know they got a lot of money for this show, but my God, they're just making planet after planet after planet.
Yeah,
the fuel. The fuel has probably got to set them back on every one of their missions. So that laundry list that Sid gives them, and including the tab that Wrecker and Omega are running up.
Popcorn, come on!
They're just what is that stuff?
Yeah.
So fuel itself is probably the bulk of it, if not.
Yeah, all that hyperspace travel, and it'll be interesting to see now if they do this big score, right? Whatever it may be. I'm assuming they're gonna have to go to a populated planet because I feel like all big scores happen in the middle of a capital city.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to Naboo, frankly. I think that'd be dope. I'm just throwing that out there. But Cheryl said a really interesting thing. She's like, I'd like to see them reflect on life outside the military and maybe deal with some PTSD and after effects. And I'm like, especially now after Wrecker did this is another traumatic event. I would also love them to like have a quiet episode, you know, those like around the fire episodes where they like kind of just talk it out to be like, you know,
yeah,
what are we now? These inhibitor chips were literally things in our DNA and in our body that are gone now. And now we're capable of literally doing essentially whatever we want. And what does that mean? I think that could be a really interesting episode down the line, or at least a conversation that they have. Because I think that I don't know if Wrecker is going to shake this that easily, you know?
It would certainly make it more interesting if he doesn't. I would like to see that as well. I mean, because they've like seen some shit, right? I mean, Bad Batch is not just your average run-of-the-mill clones have been in war fighting droids, right? They're like, they've seen some pretty dark stuff. So, you know, we'll see.
Yeah, a good round table, kind of like how they had an Alphabet Squadron, how they all got to know each other.
That's exactly what I'm thinking about. Yeah. It's just there's so many cool possibilities now going out of it because they are so free of it. You know, they have so many options now in the second half of the season. So as we get to the second half now of the season, not the episode, it's not that long, guys. Do you think that we're going to get Crosshair back now? Because it has been a hot minute. We have Crosshair still. We still have Fennec Shand out there, right? What do you think we're going to get first? More Fennec Shand or more Crosshair?
Man, I don't know. Good question. Either
first,
maybe they're all going
to
be the same. I don't know.
Yeah. First, I think do we get Crosshair and Fennec Shand dueling each other, trying to be the one to capture the Bad Batch?
Oh, that would be rad.
Yes,
just a sniper fight.
A
for
snipe
a
off.
episode.
No, it's really boring. It's just one wide shot and it goes. And that's the whole episode.
It's like Pong.
Oh, that would be cool. But yeah, I think I agree. I think Cheryl in the chat agrees. Crosshair first, and then maybe Fennec. But I want to go. Speaking of Fennec for a while, just because I haven't talked to you guys in a hot minute. Did you guys see that this week they confirmed that Book of Boba Fett has finished production, has finished filming, and they let it leak that there's going to be flashbacks to like what Boba Fett was doing before Mando. So,
oh wow, I like that.
Yeah, that sounds really good. That sounds fantastic.
I mean, we're just fleshing out all these stories so much, and I hope we get more with Fennec as well, and that. And you know, someone made a great point that we all thought Fennec Shand was like, underused in Mandalorian. That one episode that sucks. Now she's like, nope, season 2. Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Book of Boba Fett. Deal with it.
Yeah, she's really turned out to be a really neat character. And you know, I have to commend like the Disney Plus team as well, because they put Loki on a Wednesday and they put Bad Batch on Friday. And I got to tell you, getting 2 shows in a week is man, it's pretty rad. I got to tell you.
Go watch Loki, y'all. It's really
also,
good.
Loki is phenomenal. Holy crap.
So good.
Maybe the best pilot episode there's been of any of the Disney Plus shows, like including Star Wars shows. Like it's pretty damn good. Like Anyway, excited for Book of Boba Fett. Can't believe that's coming out. Like that's just right around the corner, guys. We're already halfway through the year. Like
this holiday season, we're gonna get Book of Boba Fett and Halo Infinite, so you're not gonna see me.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all.
So Justin in the chat says the next big mission to themselves is to get Crosshair back and then get his chip out. That's interesting.
I love that. I hadn't thought about that, but they know now. They got their chips out.
And seeing how the brain surgery takes like 2 seconds, it should be easy.
It's easy.
Maybe they can just shoot him maybe Tech can figure out how to shoot him from a distance and get it out. Like that would be cool.
A surgery gun.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
But put it on Omega's bush. She goes, hey, Tick, give me the brain surgery gun. Yeah. All right, Crosshair. I did brain surgery. It took 7 seconds. No, you're a good guy.
Man, that's what we were missing. We were missing the impressions.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, glad to serve. Happy to serve. I gotta get a Mages one for tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, hey, any other thoughts that we've missed on this episode? I think that. I mean,
Wes, friggin' tell me you're giving this episode higher than 7.5 now. Damn it.
Yeah, always when we talk about it, I kind of go up from where we were at. I'll give it an 8.1. I'm not going any higher than that.
All right.
Yeah, and one more thing I wanted to, can we remind everybody, or forget it, remind me, how Echo got his chip out just because his brain was scrambled when he got turned into a droid pretty much, and then a cyborg, and then Omega doesn't have one. Interesting. Why did Omega?
No, I think Echo had one still because in this episode, because he got it taken out in this episode. I'm pretty sure.
They said there's.
They said one down, 3 to go.
3 to go, or one down, 2 to go?
No, 1 down, 3 to go.
Oh, it's 3 to go. Okay, I guess he did.
Which is Hunter, Echo, and what's his face? Yeah.
I guess it was kind of like his appendix.
Tech, yes, goggles.
Because I guess it's kind of like Echo's appendix, where it wasn't bothering him, but since they were doing it for everyone, we might as well.
Yeah, it probably explains why it didn't work. Yeah, I think that's probably right. But which again, apparently all you can do is shock the shit out of them, and it makes it not work. So
2 years straight, and just completely muddle his mind.
No big deal.
Oh,
all right.
Oh, all right. One last thing here too. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan, way to stab me in the heart. Anyone else feel heartbreak when Rex mentioned fives?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Oh, he's like fives
good
new.
Callback.
He was like, and he was kind of looking off in the distance too. I mean, he was like,
man.
Fives tried to warn me, but I didn't listen. And it's like
that doesn't mean you, man.
Damn, I know that was good.
Like
loved it.
that arc with fives. Every time I think about it, rises in my favorite Clone Wars arcs. It's just so well done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a tragic arc because you're watching someone that we as an audience know will not convince anyone, but is right.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
And that's the most maddening thing when you know you're right about something and no one will listen to you and they're all going to suffer. And you're like, no.
How often do you feel that way, Corey?
Audio listeners, Corey gave that same stare, Rex. Just
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, RIP to Fives, one of the best clones ever. Rex, I don't think we'll get any more Rex in this season.
I still think this show is going to spin back around and tie into the Rebels beginning somehow.
I'm down.
I think it has to.
He's one of my favorites.
I don't see how another Dave Filoni original creation can end without largely tying into the greater story. I'm going to be really shocked, I think, if this is a beginning, middle, and end story where they start with all of these characters and then they're all killed off by the end. I will be shocked if that's the route they go.
Yeah. And I think that this is complete bad memory on my part, but I read somewhere that Bad Batch is not confirmed just to be one season. I think there are a couple they're open for a couple.
Yeah.
I think.
Sure. Yeah. That would be.
Maybe they swing back around. They hear the transmissions from Ezra's parents. They're like, maybe we should go to Lothal.
That would be good.
That's an update. Yeah, because Ezra's born on Empire Day, so he's like an infant right now. And Cheryl, playing with my emotions, what does they show us? Hera freaking Syndulla.
Oh my God, it's phenomenal. I mean, I'm telling you, there's a lot of options with the show, and the artwork and the production value is finally at the most incredible place we've ever seen Star Wars animation. Yep. I'm not ready to give it up.
No.
When season 7 Clone Wars came out, we were like, this is phenomenal. Can we get more of this, please? Now they've given it to us. So now I'm like, all right, let's just keep it going. So, and I'm personally of the opinion, I like not seeing characters get killed off. I like that Finn survived in The Last Jedi, right? I like that they end these shows open-ended because that's what the expanded universe is for, and I don't want the story to ever end, right? The saddest part of Harry Potter is that there's only 6 of them, right? It's you want the story to keep going. So I'm fine with them just keeping it going forever, and it kind of ties together, and bring it on, man.
Yeah, what? I am never the person that's like, well, if the Bad Batch was around, why didn't they show up in A New Hope? I'm like, because they didn't exist yet.
I know, dude, because that was 40 freaking years ago, and there's no other franchise that's even in the same category as this level of universe creations. So shut the hell up.
Look at Leia, we're still tonguing each other, okay? It's a different era.
Gross.
No.
Gross.
Yeah. And they're gonna make another special edition for A New Hope and put the Bad Batch in somehow.
But the animated versions, just in the background, like Mary Poppins,
Oh my God. But also, that being said, I think what's really cool about this show is that the original characters are good enough to stand on their own without the cameos as well. Like this episode was great. Rex is in my top 5 favorite Star Wars characters of all time, so I obviously love seeing him, as we all did. But the episodes without cameo characters are still great because they've done a really great job of cultivating these characters as themselves, which is honestly hard to do with a 40-plus-year-old franchise.
Oh, yeah. So, all right. Real question that occurred to me for the first time ever, and I don't know why this has never occurred to me. Does Rex dye his hair blonde?
No.
It's naturally blonde?
Punnett squares, I think. I think it's like just at a certain point, recessive genes
but
or
they're
whatever.
all clones. That's not how hair color works, but
you know what?
I understand what you're saying.
If he did,
Star Wars.
Okay, put that in the book. Put that in a comic.
His eyebrows.
I want to see who dyes
brown.
his hair.
Yeah, like
oh my god,
I want to know too. Like we've never seen that, and like the war is over, and he's still dyeing his hair. Like man, he's committed to the look,
it's like
bro.
Knocking on a door, Anakin's like, "Hey Rex, what are you doing? Don't come in here, General. Don't come in here. No, what are you doing? What are you doing? Hold on. Give me an hour and a half. I'll be right out."
That's those things that you do every day to keep your life sane. So you make your bed in the morning before you leave, and you do the same things, same couple of things you do every day to stay sane. So his is dyeing his hair blonde.
I was just thinking that, Cheryl. She says the hair dyeing is probably way easier in the Star Wars universe. It's probably accurate. It's probably just a machine.
Surgery takes 20 minutes. Hair dye should take 3 seconds.
Yeah. It's a natural feature of your bed. It just like it fixes it for you. Like
he loses it. Maybe he loses it, or maybe he forgets his hair dye, and that's why he shaves it for Rebels. He's like, "No, I can't be a brunette. I hate brunettes," and he just shaves it all off.
Oh man,
that's the real talk. More Rex. Sideshow Collectibles, please ship my Rex hot toy before October. It was supposed to be here in April. Anyway, Rex's hair dye. That's how we're going out on this episode.
That's fine with me, man. I like it.
Well, y'all, I hope that the rest of you enjoy the rest of your weekend if you're having one. If not, have a Wes Jenkins certified trademarked weekend. Treat yourself tonight. Watch this episode again. Hang up your lightsabers like I did, and have a great old rest of your weekend. And join us again tomorrow night. Corey will not be here. He'll be on night shift playing Jedi Fallen Order. Not
doing medicine.
Not doing medicine. But we will be doing our part 2 of our Thrawn Ascendancy Greater Good Roundtable with our very own Emma Park, who is fresh off 18 live shows she did last week. So come hang out tomorrow night on the Living Force. We will see you then. But until next week, for Bad Batch, Bounty Hunt, I don't know. Thanks for listening. Keep your eyes out for our next hunt, and we'll be diving into episode 8 of the Bad Batch. A special thank you to Cheryl Bell, Patrick Ortiz, and Carl Sander on our Jedi High Council, and Elizabeth Cloutier, Jason Mitchell, Freddie C., and Sally and Chris Eilerson on our Alliance High Command for their amazing support that helps make this show possible. Go ahead and tell us all your thoughts about the Bad Batch in our Discord community at utini.com/Discord. Keep using those spoiler tags. And be sure to follow the main show on Twitter at Living Force Pod, and all of us individually for our latest thoughts on the Bad Batch and all things Star Wars. I'm at Eric Eilerson. Corey is at Doc Star Wars MD. Charles Zetzi Henkel, and Wes is at Boss Wes. Until next time, tick, 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 Echo, tick, tick, Hunter, Wrecker, tick, 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 tick.